It's always exciting. Sometimes there's even between the workmen a bit of a competition. Who will find first?
Okay, if there is a historical Moses, where is this guy? I mean, where was he buried?
According to the biblical tradition, he ended on the other side of the valley.
And he dies where?
At Mount Nebo.
Mount Nebo.
When it comes to the Bible, one of the most famous stories is about Moses. It is interesting how God used him to rescue the Israelites from slavery. As his story comes to an end, we see that he was shown the promised land, but he never made it there. However, on his final day, it was said that God was the one who buried him. But where? Well, Josh Gates finally uncovered the greatest mystery, finally finding Moses' tomb.
What is at this site?
Here at this site, we have the tomb of Moses.
Keep watching to learn more about this, unveiling ancient mysteries beneath the Sea of Galilee. Well, it's no secret that the seas and oceanic beds hold immense secrets, right? The Sea of Galilee is no different. In its depths, the waters don't fall short of ancient secrets and untold mysteries. A team of bold and curious researchers embarked on an expedition. Led by the voracious and curious Josh Gates of the famous TV show Expedition Unknown and the determined and dedicated team of experts, they set out to unravel the hidden underworld. Under the waves of this sea lies a mysterious structure that, to explorers, may hold the key to unlocking the secrets of ancient history. We are talking about biblical narratives from over 1513 BCE. As the surveys began, the expert divers began to unearth relics of what may be answers to many questions about ancient history. As the scuba divers went deeper and deeper into the depths, the truth began to emerge. What they discovered beneath the calm and serene surface of the Sea of Galilee defied and challenged our understanding of history as we know it. Some might say the discoveries were even a sign for us to explore deeper into the realms of history, faith, and archaeology. But the journey had just begun, folks. According to Josh Gates, the journey to uncover the truth behind Moses' final resting place was filled with mysteries and endurance. The Sea of Galilee was not the first place these expeditions started. From the Great Hall of Nabi Musa, primarily a Muslim holy site near Jericho in Palestine, where a local Muslim tradition places the tomb of Moses, to the slopes of Mount Nebo in Jordan, a part of the Abarim mountain range where, according to the Bible, Moses was granted a view of the promised land before his death. The quest to uncover the truth has these explorers on a journey through time and tradition. A journey where every step was a revelation of new insights. These insights raised profound questions about the nature of belief and history itself. Under the Sea of Galilee, the expedition team's mission was clear: to uncover the secrets hidden by the sands beneath the waters, and shed light on a mysterious structure that, according to them, may hold the key to ancient historical questions we may have: the Well of Miriam. The team was on a quest to uncover the truth hidden deep beneath the sea. They saw the structure of what archaeologists believe to be the Well of Miriam. In the summer of 2003, while archaeologists carried out a scanning sonar survey of the southwest portion of the Sea of Galilee, they came across this mysterious structure, and divers have since been down to investigate. A sonar survey provides an accurate and repeatable methodology to measure, map, and evaluate underwater assets and environments. According to the Hebrew Bible, Miriam is described as the older sister of Moses and Aaron. She was a prophetess and first appeared in the book of Exodus. The Torah, the central and most important document of Judaism that Jews have used through the ages, refers to her as Miriam the prophetess, and the Talmud, the primary source of Jewish religious law, names her as one of the 7 major female prophets of Israel. The Well of Miriam is an ancient symbol in the Bible from the time of Moses. The Israelites are described in the book of Numbers 20:1 and the following verse as complaining of the lack of water at the site south of Canaan after Miriam's death. The text reads, "Miriam died there and was buried there, and there was no water for the congregation." According to Jewish religious tradition, this abrupt transition between her passing and the lack of water was explained by the existence of a Well of Miriam that is said to have dried up when she died. It is clear that for the longest time now, the burial site of Moses has always been a puzzle. It is so hidden that they had to get clues from somewhere else. But how did Josh Gates finally find Moses' tomb? Keep watching to find out. Relevance of the Well of Miriam to locating the tomb of Moses. How is this relevant to the tomb of Moses, you may ask? Well, further elaboration of the Jewish religion identified the rock that Moses struck to bring forth water at Horeb, according to Exodus 17:5-6 with this well. And it was said that the rock traveled with the people until Miriam's death. According to the Talmud, 3 great leaders led Israel: Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. In their merit, they received 3 great gifts: the well, Miriam, the clouds of glory, Aaron, and the manna, Moses. When Miriam died, the well was removed, as is evidenced by the fact that immediately after the verse, "And Miriam died," there was no water for the community. So now that we know how this well is relevant to locating the infamous tomb of Moses, let's ask ourselves one question. What is it doing in the Sea of Galilee, whereas Miriam and the well died at Kadesh? The mysterious monument beneath the Sea of Galilee. The experts were determined to trace the source of the small stones found in the Sea of Galilee that they associated with the Well of Miriam. They suspected these stones were washed into the sea by an ancient stream, Yavneel Creek, which once flowed into the Jordan River. This is where technological advancements came into play. Using special equipment to scan the lake bed, the specialists noticed a large heap of rocks on the usually flat floor of the lake. Intrigued by this unusual finding in the lake, Professor Marco from Tel Aviv University decided to dive into the water himself for a closer look. Upon thorough inspection, the team realized that the heap of rocks was not just a random assemblage of gravel, but a deliberately constructed structure made of basalt and common igneous volcanic rocks, each about 91.44 centimeters or 3 feet long. The stones which comprise the structure were probably brought from more than a mile away and arranged according to a specific construction plan, Professor Shmuel Marco said. According to a paper published in an archaeological journal, the structure was 230 feet, about 70 m in diameter, and about 39 feet or 12 m high. The estimated weight of the monument is over 60,000 tons, which is even heavier than many of the big warships we see today. The site resembles early burial sites in Europe and was likely built in the early Bronze Age. There may be a connection to the nearby ancient city of Beit Yera, the area's largest and most fortified city, explained Dr. Yitzhak Paz from Ben Gurion University. Beit Yera is an ancient fortified settlement located at the southern tip of the Sea of Galilee in what is now northern Israel. Suppose we were to compare the circle of stones at Stonehenge, a prehistoric megalithic structure on Salisbury Plain in Wiltshire, England, to these monumental mysteries stones. In that case, the stones here are about double the diameter of the Stonehenge stones. The scuba divers were not taking any chances with this structure. They wanted to know what it was for sure. Upon closer observation, the researchers noticed that the monument consists of basalt boulders, some measuring up to 1 meter or 3.2 feet in length. In addition to this, they also noted that there was no clear pattern in how the boulders were arranged. In fact, the stones appeared to have natural faces, meaning they did not show any signs of being cut or chiseled. As if that's not enough, there were no signs of walls or clear boundaries around the structure. It was hard to pinpoint exactly what made this structure. Did it occur naturally? Was it built by some tribe or washed into the seabed by currents? Based on the raw evidence and their findings, the specialists concluded that the monument was definitely made by humans. But that's not all. They also added that the structure was likely made on land originally. This was because the nearest place where these kinds of rocks naturally occur is over a mile away. They believe someone deliberately brought the rocks to this spot to build the structure. But why the structure? What is it? There is so much mystery surrounding Moses' tomb, and it even goes along the majority of the places mentioned in the Bible. But did they eventually find Moses' tomb? Even after following all these clues? Stay tuned to find out. What is the mysterious monument, and why is it in the Sea of Galilee? Over the years, many different theories have been proposed to explain the purpose of this structure. Theories that tried to use ancient calendars and ceremonial sites to try and explain the purpose of the monument. Some researchers even tend to believe that it could have been used for sky burial, a funeral practice in which a human corpse is placed on a mountaintop to decompose while exposed to the elements or to be eaten by scavenging beasts. However, this cannot be so, as no concrete archaeological evidence indicates a nearby city or community. This absence of concrete evidence is what adds to the mystery. No wonder there has been a rise in speculation that the structure might as well be a massive monument with symbolic meaning. It was now becoming challenging to unearth the true identity of the structure. According to the researchers, the shape and composition of the monumental structure do not resemble those of any of the naturally occurring features found in the area. Therefore, this has led them to believe it is man-made. From a geophysical perspective, the structure is even described as a cairn, a human-made pile of stones raised for a purpose. Over time, as the water level of the Sea of Galilee rose, the structure became submerged. Understanding the history of the Sea of Galilee. The discovery of the underwater structure holds significant implications for understanding the history of the Sea of Galilee. If it is true that man made this structure, it means that the area at the time was dry, right? The fact that the structure appears submerged deep beneath the water suggests that the lake's water level has significantly risen compared to it in ancient times. For this reason, this revelation has led researchers to open a window into the past, offering insights into the environmental changes that have occurred over centuries. Being as mysterious as it is, the structure presents an intriguing sight. It resembles a massive pile of rocks precisely stacked on each other, making it quite similar to what is commonly known as a rock cairn in the archaeological realm. Although these types of structures, often associated with cultural or religious practices, are not alien in most parts of the world, researchers at the time of discovery still remained uncertain about the specific purpose of the one found in the Sea of Galilee. The vagueness and uncertainty surrounding the intended reason why the structure was built add a layer of mystery to the discoveries. This uncertainty has led to further exploration and investigation into the ancient civilizations that once inhabited this region. Experts wanted to know the possible connections to the mysterious structure hidden deep beneath the lake's surface. Well, thank the God of Moses for the invention of seismic survey equipment. This means that serious studies may be conducted to find the answers and resolve the mystery. Meaning of seismic survey. Our researcher, John Gates, and his team, to understand this phenomenon, had to design a seismic survey. As I said earlier, a seismic survey is a type of geophysical investigation generally used to measure the properties of the Earth. Various physical properties such as magnetism, electricity, gravity, heat, and elasticity give specific information. It usually relies on elasticity theory to deduce the elastic properties of different materials. This is usually done by observing how elastic properties respond to seismic waves, which, for those not scientists, are instabilities that travel through the Earth's crust. Seismic surveys have been used over the years and play a vital role in industries where companies need to know what lies beneath the Earth's surface, like oil and gas exploration. These surveys are compelling, as just by sending seismic waves deep into the ground and recording the reflections the Earth's surface gives back, specialists can create detailed maps showing the layers of rock and other materials below the surface. Genius, right? The information recorded is crucial for locating valuable resources like gas and oil reserves buried deep beneath the Earth. Back to the Sea of Galilee. Josh Gates and his crew, equipped with advanced technology and steadfast determination to unearth the truth behind this megastructure, deployed seismic air guns, a tool that, most definitely without, we would be talking a different story right now. These guns, resembling large cylinders, create one of the loudest man-made sounds in the ocean. During seismic surveys, ships pull out these large arrays of air guns that release loud, pressurized blasts of air through the ocean and into the sea floor. As the air guns fired loud blasts at the sea, the calm surface of the Sea of Galilee broke out into an outbreak of action-filled activity. The large bursts created a shock of seismic waves that vibrated through the seabed with extraordinary force as the high-pressure air charged into the waters. The guns alone couldn't capture the required echoes, so they accompanied the air guns with sensors strategically positioned at different positions to capture the echoes of these shock waves as they bounced back off the submerged monumental structure. These sensors acted as silent sentinels, diligently recording every current and vibration that bounced back from the structure through the sea. Not once, not twice, but 3 times they fired their guns into the sea. And with each burst of compressed air, the sensors, without hesitation, tremendously did their job, precisely capturing the data needed to make clear the mysteries of the ancient relic in the bed of the Sea of Galilee. Despite the repetitive process, it was crucial as researchers wanted to gather a comprehensive data set from various angles and depths. As the experiment was being undertaken, the experts needed to master the art of total silence. Even though a mix of loud sounds surrounded them, they had to pay close attention to the underwater world's subtle details. The team knew that each time the air guns were fired, they moved closer and closer to revealing the secrets hidden beneath the ocean floor. A couple of days passed, but the team persisted in their efforts. It was not an easy task, but despite the challenges of working in such a vast mass of water, they pushed on with determination. They knew they would be at the forefront of making new discoveries when this was over. Finally, after a couple of days, they fired up their last few shots of highly pressurized air, and when the last echoes faded away, the seismic survey ended. They managed to collect data that had the potential to uncover the mysterious monumental structure that had remained hidden for as long as we could even imagine, offering insights into the past and the tales it held. Back in the lab, scientists carefully looked at all the data collected during the underwater experiment. They examined every wave and sound echo the seismic guns made very closely, trying to understand what details the structure underwater may have hidden. After hours of carefully studying and analyzing the structure, the scientists finally created a 3D picture of what was under the water, an image that would clearly give them an insight into the past, showing how old the structure was, what it was made of, how it got there in the first place, and even why it might have been built. As they looked at the results, they understood what the ancient world might have looked like under the sea. The structure, a big mystery for some time, was now apparent to them, and the secrets it held were now out in the open. From the pictured image, the scientists paid close attention to the reflection that came from the structure, which was buried by sediments. The seismic experiment showed us the size and shape of the underwater structure and gave clues about its importance in history. The journey of Moses and the Israelites. They were now sure this structure might connect to Miriam's well. We all know that as they were guided through the wilderness of Shur, shortly after their miraculous crossing of the Red Sea by Moses, the Israelites faced dire challenges, one of the most significant being the scarcity of water, as, of course, they were passing through a desert. They journeyed through a sterile landscape under the scorching sun for 3 long days with dehydrated throats. Their desperate search yielded no hope. However, their hope was rekindled when they arrived at Marah, somewhere in the Sinai Peninsula. Here, you guessed it, they discovered a source of water. Unfortunately for the Israelites, yet again, the water was bitter and undrinkable. In desperation, the Israelites turned to Moses, as he was their leader and intermediary with God. They wanted him to seek a solution to their sulfuring. Seeing that he had to respond to their cries, Moses asked for guidance from God, who, according to the scriptures, instructed him to throw a piece of wood into the bitter waters. Being a firm believer, Moses trusted God's command. He threw the wood into the pool, and miraculously, the once bitter water turned into a sweet and refreshing liquid that the Israelites could drink. According to Jewish religious tradition, the well was named after Miriam, who we saw was the older sister of Moses and Aaron and a major prophetess in Israel. Having played a significant role in the Exodus story, Miriam became a symbol of divine sustenance and nourishment. The vital role of Miriam for the Israelites. One notable depiction of her vital role in the Exodus is when she watches over her baby brother, Moses, after being instructed by her mother. She trails Moses as he lies hidden among the bulrushes along the banks of the Nile. We all know the story of Moses, a Hebrew teacher and leader who is considered the most important prophet in Judaism and one of the most important prophets in many religions, including Christianity and Islam. According to both the Bible and the Quran, Moses was the leader of the Israelites and the lawgiver to whom the prophetic authorship of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, is attributed. Born in the land of Goshen, their Hebrew mother, Jochebed, secretly put him in a basket and set him on the Nile when Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys to be killed to reduce the population of the Israelites. Miriam was the one who kept a careful eye on the basket, ensuring Moses remained safe from harm. Until then, Moses was adopted by Pharaoh's daughter after she found him in the river, and he grew up with the Egyptian royal family. It was crying, and she felt sorry for him. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water," as it appears in the book of Exodus 2:5-10. Miriam's watchfulness and protective instincts showed her deep love for her brother and her commitment to protecting his life, even in the face of great danger. Her courage emphasizes her importance as a key figure in Moses' early life narrative. In addition, Miriam's actions symbolize the resilience of the Hebrew people in the face of oppression by the Egyptians. Indeed, the story of Moses, Miriam, and Aaron is a testimony to the power of faith, perseverance, and divine intervention. This was what led to the Israelites' freedom from the depths of slavery in Egypt and into the Promised Land. Due to her role, the Israelites paid tribute to her existence, naming the well after her. During that time, the Jews were sustained by water from Miriam's well that accompanied them throughout their journey through the desert environment for 40 years. According to ancient Jewish religions, the well wasn't necessarily a typical well, but a specific rock that traveled with the Israelites during their journey through the desert. When they stopped to rest, the rock would sink into the sand, and the leaders of each tribe would approach it with a staff. Each leader would draw a line from the rock toward their tribe's encampment. In response, water would flow from the rock following that path, providing the people with the needed water. Miriam's death. Toward the end, just months before entering the Holy Land, the entire congregation of the children of Israel arrived at the desert of Zin in the first month, and here the people settled in Kadesh. Miriam is said to have died here and was buried here in Kadesh as a sign of respect. It is said that after her death, the Well of Miriam also dried up, and the congregation had no water again. Back to the critical water shortage issue. This was a test of faith for the Jewish people, symbolizing the transition from Miriam's era to a new one for the Israelites. Due to the water shortage issue again, the people besieged Moses and demanded that he provide water for them, lest they die. This was when God told Moses to take his staff and speak to the rock. Moses, however, grew impatient, and instead of speaking, he struck the rock with his staff. Yes, the waters sprung out of it again, but because of his actions, he was stripped of the opportunity to enter the Holy Land. The act of Moses speaking to the rock was supposed to demonstrate complete reliance on God's word, which Moses disobeyed, the age of our underwater anomaly. The intriguing story of the Exodus talks about the liberation of the Israelites from Egyptian slavery and their journey that followed through the desert under the leadership of Moses. Over time, this story has been believed to have occurred during the Late Bronze Age. However, scholars have ever since disagreed over the accuracy and timing of this account. The recent discovery, however, provides a new viewpoint on the region's history during this period, possibly linking it to the biblical story of the Exodus. As the researchers delved deeper into their analysis, they discovered that the structure was predated back to the Bronze Age period, approximately 4,000 years ago. This revelation ignited a hint at a historical connection between the biblical narrative of Exodus and the tale of Miriam's well. Through thorough examination, the three-dimensional image unveiled the structure's colossal proportions and unique craftsmanship. It thus became clear that this structure was not a product of natural forces, but rather a testament to human ingenuity that was strategically positioned on the seabed. Although the archaeologists assumed that the area of the sculpture was initially land before becoming submerged by the lake, figuring out the exact age of the structure has become a challenge. The death of Moses. Could this enigmatic structure be key to unlocking ancient secrets buried beneath the waves? The enduring quest to uncover the final resting place of Moses has captivated humanity for centuries. Moses, to date, plays a vital role when it comes to ancient religions and prophecies in various religions like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. His remarkable journey from his infancy along the banks of the Nile to his role in saving the Israelites from Egyptian oppression and also delivering the commandments on Mount Sinai serves as a keystone of belief and a source of inspiration to many. Because of this, archaeologists around the globe continue to seek clues to unravel the mystery of his tomb. According to the Bible, it is said that because of his disobedience in striking his staff for water instead of speaking to the stone, Moses forfeited his chances of entering the Promised Land, and he passed away just after seeing the land on Mount Nebo at the age of 120 years. Moses' final resting place. To uncover the truth behind this narrative, Josh Gates visited Jordan, where he came across an enormous walled compound bearing the name Nabi Musa, meaning the prophet Moses. Josh explored the site in hopes of answering the question of the location of Moses' burial. According to biblical tradition, Mount Nebo, situated just across the valley and the Dead Sea in what is now Jordan, has been associated with Moses' burial place, dating back to the 4th century, when a church was even constructed there. But the mystery is not that simple. According to archaeologists, Islamic tradition also has its own version of where Moses died. Highlighting the significant mention of Moses in the Quran, some archaeologists believe that he crossed the river to this side of Jordan, where the monument, Nabi Musa, stood. According to Islamic tradition, Prophet Muhammad, during his heavenly ascension from Jerusalem near the Dome of the Rock, saw Moses praying at his tomb, which is believed to be located on this side of the Jordan River, where the monument is. Josh had to dig deeper with these conflicting traditions about Moses' burial site. That is when his guide shared stories of Nabi Musa from the 13th century. This place once was a quiet place with little to no action, but now, Nabi Musa is bustling with visitors from around the world. People come here to feel close to their beliefs and remember their journey of faith, said the archaeological guide. The pursuit to unearth Moses' tomb has left us with a sense of wonder. We must understand that some things will always be a mystery, but the journey of searching for truth is what matters. The vanishing of Moses' tomb is just one narrative in the mystery of Moses' tomb. In fact, it is speculated that God himself hid the tomb to prevent it from becoming an object of worship, stressing Moses' teachings and legacy over his physical form. The Bible describes Moses as having died on Mount Nebo and being buried in a valley opposite Beth Peor, but the exact location remains unknown. All in all, while the mystery of Moses' tomb may never be fully unearthed, its disappearance still serves as a symbol of faith, urging us as believers to consider the search for deeper spiritual truths and trust in the divine wisdom that surpasses human understanding. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Ciao.